I do what I want.
Yeah, no,
right,
you
guys.
don't have to. Like, we're
I
just doing
like
this.
to try and do things the
no,
way
we wanted
that
the mics live.
Hi, everyone.
We're
Welcome to the Outlaw Radio
No,
show.
We're not live yet. We're just hanging. We're just here. This is just.
I wonder if
this is a new thing we're doing.
It's gonna be okay.
Justin, why don't you go ahead and hit record on the audio?
Okay, thanks.
Yeah.
Thanks for letting me know that.
Yeah, appreciate that. That was good.
Why do I?
Yeah.
That was good.
We have a producer, but we don't use our producer.
No.
Like
I mean,
the Lost Boys.
This is
We
all
have
a,
somewhere.
this
We
is
don't
all a
use
result.
somewhere.
This is what's going to happen until he gets married.
You got to figure out how to get comments on that.
I'm working on it.
Work on that. Don't talk to me.
I'm
You have
doing
4 minutes to figure out
Look,
how the new TV.
I am trying to
don't
find-
get distracted. Do
I'm
two
trying to
things at
find
once.
a good
No.
GIF to
Oh, good
repost
grief.
this
No,
on.
just, you got to do that first.
No, this is
Hello
more
to our
important.
viewers. This is
This is not. They're not
this
viewers.
is normally
they're
how it
just,
starts.
They're
This is what you guys
just
normally
hanging
miss.
out.
I am now going to YouTube, and I think I have to
Pure
post.
pandemonium.
Once I post a
Yes.
comment,
Then, in
Then
the
it
comments come up.
should-
So if
then
you're
it
if you're
should.
yeah, we need comments. Somebody, if you're here,
Let's
Jamie, are you here?
go.
There is a delay. We're like 20 seconds.
something like that. Yeah.
It's like a 20-second
Okay, so
delay.
it pops up right there.
Oh,
Oh,
okay,
that's nifty.
that's
Yeah.
cool. We can see it. That
Hey, we
TV's
can
close
see
enough.
see
it's
it.
live.
Thank you for commenting, Justin Holcomb.
Thank you. Let's go.
Let's see if I mean anybody that joins the show over the next 3 minutes.
Currently, we have 2 people watching, so I don't know who the one of
You have
them
to
has
leave
at
if you're
least
watching.
me.
Well,
Leave
that would
a
be
comment.
us and you.
That might be true.
That is very.
That might be very true.
It'd be really
All right, we're
nice.
live. This is currently working.
It'd be really nice if I could
I made
share.
that
Oh, we
countdown
got
today.
4
I feel
people
pretty good
watching
about it.
right
I made
now.
that countdown like an hour and 20 minutes ago.
Yeah, more or less.
Oh, Jana, what's up?
Oh wait, we can hear you.
Yes, we are aware.
Jana.
I am not in favor of us.
Oh,
being
that's
heard
what the
right
mics
now,
go
but we
live
are-
button does.
Yeah.
We
That's
are aware that you can hear us right now.
Yeah. That's
Who would thunk it?
it's weird to see me like walking around, but I'm already back to the. I mean, it is a 20 second. That's kind of nice. There's a 20-second delay.
You
Look
caught
at
up to
your
yourself.
face.
Zach's learning how delayed video works.
Look at my face. Nice hat, by the way.
Thanks.
Yeah,
a
it's a
good
good
friend
looking-
gave it to me.
It's a good looking hat.
This is such an interesting angle. Like
This
the
is-
darkness in the shot. I hope you guys are enjoying it.
The nighttime is the
Hi,
right time.
everyone.
Time is the right time.
You know what? What we did not think about is how distracting that screen's gonna be.
Oh,
Like
the one where
we
can
can't-
see
I can't
ourselves?
look at that at all.
Like me and Vinny can't be already distracted more than we already are.
I mean,
during
you
the
guys
show.
can. I mean, it's not a shot that you haven't seen before. That one's already.
no, but
usually-
that shot that we're looking at is live.
I thrive in chaos.
And
this
that one
one-
is.
this one is delayed.
Yeah, I'm used to that. You guys aren't.
Yeah, but I can just look at the corner to see comments.
Right.
Jamie Allman, 8290.
It's Jana.
Jana.
Yeah.
It's not Jamie. It's
No,
Jana.
it's not. It's Jana.
I wonder if Jamie's also with her.
My guess is that they're together.
I don't know. Jana,
I also have to be ready to do the lights.
I feel
That's
like-
a whole new thing. I
I
have to
feel
do
like
the lights.
Welcome to
Jana,
multitasking,
Jana
Zachary.
is way cooler than Jamie.
Whoa,
at this
he
point-
can hear you.
At this point in time, she's the only one watching, as far as I know.
That's true. Squirrel.
We are 50 seconds away from going live.
We are easily distracted.
Yeah, Vinny, you're gonna be live. Do you know what you're saying?
Now,
I
is
have
it
no clue
is
what
it
I'm
40 seconds or is it
You
1
should
minute?
know what the here, you need the lineup. You need
I
to,
see the lineup. I just
this is your idea.
it was my idea.
Yeah, so you got to be ready to go.
I know exactly what I'm.
Jamie is
The
trying to
Holy
get logged
Spirit
on to
knows
his
what I'm gonna
YouTube.
30
say.
seconds.
That's what counts.
Remember, we're going
No
off
way
the
he's
countdown
cooler.
on the right, not the countdown on the left.
We're 25 seconds away,
Yes, we are.
so I'm ready for the lights.
This is gonna make messing up his intro way harder.
He's not doing the intro.
Yeah,
I am.
we're
That's
no
right.
longer. We no longer have a. We're
Yeah,
just going.
there's no-
apparently.
there's-
Hi everyone again.
Yeah.
Welcome to the Outlaw Radio Show.
We're
We're gonna get started here in about 10
All
seconds.
right, you're gonna do your thing, right?
Yeah.
mean,
Mics
people-
go live at 5.
Okay,
I
this
don't
is
know
your
yet.
deal.
5,
Yes, yeah.
4.
My
3,
parents are watching.
2, 1.
All right, here we go.
Vincent.
Welcome to the Outlaw Radio Show. What would y'all do? That's one of the topics. That's one of the new things we're doing here, as well as a bunch of other super fun things like the pepper poppers that you're used to. Justin's picking out a hot sauce. Creighton is mildly freaking out. I am loving all of it. And we're excited to have all of you with us tonight.
Absolutely. Let's roll the intro. Do it. All right, welcome to the Outlaw Radio Show. My name is Zach Adams, and I pastor a church located just outside of Athens, Georgia. The name of the church is Calvary 316. If you're local, come hang out with us one Sunday. Our service is at 10:30. If you're not local but looking for a good Bible teaching church to check out online, we live stream our service. The easiest way to find it is our YouTube channel, which is Calvary 316.live. Again, Calvary 316.live. You can learn all about the church by going to our website, which is calvary316.com. The Outlaw Radio Show is a conversation between a group of friends who love Jesus, have been gripped by his amazing grace, and who stand ready to be outlaws in a world that is growing more and more hostile to the things of the Lord. It has been 9 weeks since we were back with you live on Wednesday nights. We took a bit of a summer break, a hiatus, a vacation. In the course of the last 2 months, we have been releasing on Wednesdays a series of videos that we have titled Into the Archive. And so the Outlaw Radio Show for years existed as a radio program. There was no video, so it was all audio. And we thought it would be fun throughout the summer to pick out 8 episodes, previous episodes, interviews that we did that we felt like were worthy of being re-released ultimately to the YouTube channel. All of this stuff you can find on our podcast, but we wanted to put this content on our YouTube channel. We hope you've enjoyed it. We have been blessed by having a bit of a break, vacations and traveling. We've also had some wonderful ministry opportunities. We've been getting together Wednesday nights on the deck with a group of guys, chewing the fat, talking Jesus, hanging out, laughing. It's been a wonderful, wonderful break, but I'll tell you, I am, and I can echo these guys, is their heart on it, is we are excited to get back into the weekly grind, the routine, a whole new series of episodes. So as of right now, the only week we plan to have off between now and Christmas is a fall break in October, but we will be putting out every Wednesday night fresh content, 8 o'clock. Again, we're so glad you're with us. I do want to make mention, there's a few changes that we're making to the show. If you joined us already, we have kind of we go live, there's a Outlaw Radio shows happening at 8 o'clock, and then when the countdown happens, instead of it being a static thing, we're giving you a live look in to the studio. The mics are live. We're talking, doing some things.
Pandemonium.
There's some pandemonium. It's a fun thing, a new change. We've also added a secondary television, a TV in the studio that is streaming us on YouTube. So we have full access to the YouTube channel and subsequently are able to see in real time. It's about a 20-second delay, but as close to real time as possible. Live comments. And so kind of moving forward, if you're watching on Facebook, we stream on our YouTube channel, outlawradio.live. We stream on facebook.com/The Radio Outlaw. We also stream on my X account, at Zach Adams. So we stream on a few different platforms. You can leave comments on X. You can leave comments on Facebook. Please do that, engage. It's a wonderful thing. We will be getting to those comments, though, after the show. We're really not monitoring them in real time. Facebook's weird because sometimes they just don't pop up. It's not really dependable, but YouTube is great for this. And kind of taking a poll of you guys, people that are watching, engaging. Most of you engage through YouTube anyway. And so if you're watching us, leave us a comment. We want to see those comments. They pop up right over here to my left. There's a big screen and we can see the comments pop up in real time. And we will address those between segments, which also leads to kind of a new change also to the show, is we are introducing a bunch more segments. So previous, the way the Outlaw Radio Show would work is I would have a theme for the episode, something that the Lord had put on my heart that I was going to be talking about throughout the episode. And then what we would do is we would take breaks in that theme, and we would add in different segments: Pepper Poppers, Spice Daddy Digs, Ifs with Pope C. We had a bunch of different segments. Those are all remaining. But instead of like really breaking up what I was doing kind of and weaving it through a bunch of different things, my substance will be their own segments. And so we're going to like, the whole episode will be a variation of segments. I think it'll be very entertaining. I think you'll enjoy.
It's more of a variety show.
Yes, it'll be more organized. I think that's probably a way to do it. And the reason for that is that one of the drawbacks is whatever the subject was that I was speaking of was very difficult for us to kind of roll out as its own short form video content. The other segments were easier. So if you wanted like the topic that I was speaking of, the problem is that you'd have to watch the whole episode and it would get fragmented. And so we're kind of changing that. We're restructuring it. We've come up with a bunch of different segments. I think you'll enjoy the show. I think it'll be a lot of fun. And then between the segments, we'll be bantering. Again, this will be the opportunity that we'll respond to any of your questions in real time, again, on YouTube, our YouTube channel, outlawradio.live. And so, again, we're so excited about this next season. Good things. We're excited. We're so glad that you're with us. This is a ministry that the Lord's put on our heart, and we hope that you're blessed by it. Introductions, working from my right around the table, we've got Spice Daddy, Justin Holcomb. How you doing?
Doing pretty good. After 9 weeks, it's
some vacation. We were gonna go live last week. That was the plan, but you had a vacation plan.
Yep, a good friend of mine came down from Canada, so
you were doing some traveling, hanging out with some friends, had a wedding you went to, and so instead of like starting the next season without Spice Daddy, we decided let's wait one more week.
It's hard to start a show without some spice to it.
That's right. That's right. Also, we've got Dear Daddy, Vinny Himes. How you doing, buddy?
Doing great.
How's work? How's life? How are things going? Busy. How's your golf game?
Terrible.
Terrible.
I got some golf shoes, destroyed my game.
That's what destroyed your game.
100%.
Yeah.
Yeah, I learned to play into the slip, and there's no slip.
So you need to get back into cowboy boots. That's what you need to be doing. Yeah. And then lastly, the man that needs no introduction, the maestro of this dysfunction, the producer of the Outlaw Radio Show, Pope Creighton. Vaughn, how you doing, buddy?
Hi, that's me. I'm doing well. Hello, everyone out there. Am I doing Get Fed Today now?
You can in just a second. We're just kind of like freestyling.
I've had a wonderful summer. It's been fantastic.
Good pool days, hanging out.
Wonderful pool days. We had the youth conference a couple of weeks ago, which has for the last... When did you start the
22 years or something?
Yeah, probably 20-something years of my life has been my favorite weekend of the year. I think there were 500 kids at the youth conference this year. It was fantastic. Our kids got a bunch out of it. Our youth leaders got a bunch out of it. It was great. It's been a great summer.
It has been a wonderful summer.
Pumped to be back at Outlaw.
You have a wonderful tan, by the way.
Thank you. I've had this one most of my life. Yeah.
I do want leave that shot up. Go back to your shot. I do want to give a shout out to good friends of ours. I'm not going to mention them by name. They might not like that. But we have a couple that have been coming to our church for almost a year now. And he's a woodworker and has some like a really cool wood shop. And he wanted to make an Outlaw Radio sign using some of his fancy equipment. So this summer, that has been made. Steve Hamilton, who did this table.
Move out of the way, Creighton.
I'm working on it.
Yeah. There you go. There you go. So we've got a sign. We thought the best place to put it for its full glory was to put it kind of as the backdrop there of Pope Creighton. So you guys know who you are. Heavenly blessings. Thank you so much. It's a wonderful addition to the studio. We've made a few changes to the studio as well. Again, we took some time off, but we have been very, very, very productive with that time off.
Yeah, Assistant Pastor Pope Creighton.
That's right.
Comes from Jamie.
Assistant.
I did see that.
Oh yeah, see boom. Comment.
Right, Assistant Pastor Pope
I'm glad to see his new phone is working now. So, Creighton, why don't you? The show is brought to you. Give a quick plug.
Yes. So, Outlaw Radio is brought to you by another podcast that we produce called Get Fed Today. We post 5 Bible studies every Monday, from 5 different pastors. Most of them are Calvary pastors, but we have some people from outside of the Calvary movement. I think currently we're at 915 something odd studies that are up there. If you are looking to just increase your Bible knowledge, if you're looking to get more into the Bible, because getting fed once a week, you will not last long. It's a great resource. Check it out. I know it's on Apple and Spotify. If you use one of the smaller podcasting apps and you're not seeing it, let us know and we will get it up there. And
you can let us know always by emailing us at popecreighton@gmail.com. That is the official email address of the Outlaw Radio Show. Again, popecreighton@gmail.com.
Yeah, so just to go along with all of this, during the live show, we can see the YouTube comments pop up on our new fancy TV we got here dedicated to the YouTube stream. So feel free to do that. I am also monitoring, that's not to take away from Facebook or X, I am also monitoring those. So
we're doing our best to try to cover those platforms as well.
YouTube is the one that we all can see, though.
Yes.
So if you just want to have a good time, join in with everybody else that mostly comments on YouTube. Go there.
Absolutely. Well, I want to start off tonight by addressing a topic that's been in the news for the last few days, but man, if you were on social media at all, it blew up your feed. So I'm going to do very quickly an X, Y of Z's posts. So,
hey, Sarah.
So this is a segment where I talk about cultural things that I engage with online, whether it's on X, also on Facebook. Kind of gotten back into a little bit of Facebook interaction. It's a dicey game, but man, the interaction is huge. So today, Dr. Anthony Fauci was brought before a Senate committee that was headed up by Senator Rand Paul of Kentucky, and it was wild. Dr. Anthony Fauci, if you've had your head in the sand, was the head of NIH through the pandemic, had been the head of NIH for years and years and years, but specifically during the pandemic had predominant television time, was really the main voice. In fact, he was the science. It was the whole thing. Trust the science was code for trust Dr. Anthony Fauci. Now, I don't want to go into all this. I don't want to make a whole segment, or not a segment, but a whole episode on this. We are learning more and more and more. I plead the fifth. Great comment, Sarah. Yes. So yeah, today he got brought before that committee, and even though he has a presidential pardon that absolves him from any criminal litigation going back
auto-penned.
Yeah, going back to 2014, he refused to answer any questions. His diary has come out in the last few days, which very much revealed that he was lying, bold-faced, about most of everything happening during the pandemic. I don't want to get into the nitty-gritty or all the details with that. Again, you can go online. I have a very personal story regarding COVID. I'm very personally invested into a lot of these things. It has become more and more and more clear that I lost a good year of my life. I was in a coma for a month. I lost the use of my arms for a good year and a half. I almost died, was in the hospital for 3 months, and it really had very little to do with COVID, though I did have COVID pneumonia. It was mainly the CDC protocols in place for doctors. In threat of them losing their license, the protocol was not to prescribe any type of therapeutics, because if therapeutics showed any type of effectiveness, the NIH would not be able to get emergency use authorizations to push the vaccine, or to also prescribe people once they got to the hospital remdesivir. That's a whole nother story. Personally, it has dawned on me, it's become a thing, that COVID is not what almost killed me, but abuse of power by non-elected bureaucrats who we've come to find out are evil people. That are egomaniacal, that don't have our best interest in mind, that we should not have trusted. Now, I don't want to, again, relitigate the past. Maybe some of you really did listen to the CDC. They're based in Atlanta, held in high regard. These are people that we should be trusting. These are the experts. We should be able to rely on their advice, that the things that they're saying we can trust are coming from a good place. Come to find out, 6 feet distancing had no science. Masks had no science. So many things. The protocol that doctors were forced to implement was send people home, hope they get better. Most did. Or for them to get really, really sick so that they'd have to go to the hospital, because that's the only way that you could administer remdesivir, because it had to be through an IV. That killed a lot of people. And by the time you got to a hospital, you were that deep in COVID pneumonia, your chances of survival diminished greatly, especially if then you had to be ventilated. I'm one of the few people. I was ventilated for 65 days, survived. The Lord healed me. There's no other explanation for it. Now, the reason I bring it up, the whole point of this, is that there is a lesson that we all need to take a moment and think about. And that's who we trust. Teachers. I've said this in the show in the past, like, you need to be very careful who you listen to, who you place yourself under. Because undoubtedly, the people that you trust are the people that will have an influence. If you sit under a pastor, that pastor, the longer you sit under them, will have an influence, will have an impact. You have to judge their character, their intent. Like, you have to be Berean in that sense. And I use kind of a Christianese phrase. There was, Berea was a town. Paul addresses the Bereans, and he says, you guys challenged everything. You tested everything. You thought for yourself. You weren't sheep. You should do that with your pastor. You should study to show yourself approved unto God, a workman. You should never take something at face value. If you go to Calvary 316, my church, don't take anything that I say as just gospel truth without fact checking it, without studying it, without looking into it on your own. And if you find something that I've said that is an error, challenge me on it. And if I'm wrong, I'll own it. And I've done that before. But we shouldn't be sheep. We shouldn't blindly accept anything that anyone says, even if it's President Trump, because he was the president. During the pandemic, he gave Anthony Fauci a platform, and he's never apologized for that either. So my point is just with the revelations that we're seeing and the reality that so much of what many people just accepted as fact, it's crazy. The trust the science guy pled the fifth a lot today. Science pled the fifth and wouldn't answer questions. And I think this is just one of those moments, again, not to get too deep into the weeds, where we need to think for ourselves with the Bible, but with everything. We need to challenge the algorithm. We need to be free thinkers. We need to go to Scripture and let Scripture be the basis of truth, and to own that and be independent with that. You guys know what I'm saying? You kind of feeling that? I didn't want to get political. I just wanted to take something in the culture, an X, Y, and Z post, and just make a point of who you listen to has an influence, and we should always be careful on who we listen to. You know what
Absolutely.
I mean? Any comments? Trump didn't give him anything. Fauci took the spotlight to try to recoup money lost.
That's a response to Ryan, who said Trump gave him the spotlight.
So I would gravitate more towards Ryan. I hate to say this, Jamie, but Trump's the president of the United States. And if it's simply like I'll give you another example. Trump made a terrible decision by placing his vice president, Mike Pence, in charge of Operation Warp Speed. Trump in his first administration, and I don't think I'm too far into the weeds to say the biggest criticism, he did not surround himself with the right people. Paul Manafort was his chief of his campaign manager, not the best guy. There's a bunch of people that I think even in Bill Barr, the head of DOJ, maybe not the best guy to have had in that particular position. Trump, if we can be fair and criticize fairly, I think Trump has to this day not apologized for the vaccine, which has been incredibly suspect. He pushed that. He did not mandate it, and that's true. Biden did that. But Trump was president. Trump could have cut Dr. Fauci's platform off. He shared stage with him, and there was no one in Trump's circle at that time that seems to be giving him a true fact. Now he's in the second term has done a much better job of that. I think RFK Jr. is a wonderful. Just want to make it clear, I'm no Trump hater. No, Ryan, no, I got you. And this is again, I have voted for Trump 3 times, but I will challenge anything Trump says. And I think the great criticism of Trump supporters is that, and even Trump made the comment, I could kill someone in Times Square and it wouldn't matter at all. They're going to support me regardless. No, that shouldn't be the case. We should test and verify everything anyone says. I don't trust a politician as far as I can throw him, which is not very far. I want to see action and deed. And so, again, without getting too politically engaged, Dr. Anthony Fauci seems to be a very evil, maniacal individual. Francis Collins, Deborah Birx, there was a bunch of people. The heads of the Redford, the head of the CDC. Trump was not getting good information, and there were people that he had around him that did not have his best interest in mind, and it did him a great disservice. And I think that's a fair criticism, a fair critique. I would love to see Trump come out and show some humility about COVID and acknowledge maybe some of the things that he got wrong. I remember, I forget who it was. It was John Rich, who's the country star. Trump made a comment to him in one of the rallies leading up to the last election that every time he mentioned the vaccine, his rallies, people would boo. And Trump didn't understand why people were booing. And Rich made the comment to Trump, and if it wasn't Rich, it was somebody else, made the comment like, you don't realize how many people were negatively affected by this vaccine, and you're touting it as some great accomplishment, and your own base of support disagrees with you. And Trump started backing off of that. But again, I would love to see politicians apologize. Today, I would have loved to have seen Anthony Fauci, who has a presidential pardon and could have spoken the truth, say, I got it all wrong, and he can't be prosecuted. To show some humility from a public official, to say, I was wrong, these are the areas I was wrong. You know, I think that, the one thing about America is we are very gracious people. Bill Clinton had an affair, didn't really own it, got caught with it, but he got reelected. People are very, very, the American people are very forgiving and merciful, but there needs to be some measure of humility. And man, if you have any criticism about the political scape, where do you see humility in any facet of government? You don't see it at all. And I think that's a shame. Now, enough of that. We're moving right along. Appreciate the comments. This is kind of working in real time. Ryan, Jamie, wonderful additions to the conversation. We're pivoting to another segment. It's a top 10 list that we call Pepper Poppers, featuring Spice Daddy. So after the logo, let's throw it over to Spice. You got it. You're on screen.
Yeah, now's your time.
Yeah, you're on screen.
Sorry, I keep looking at this one. It's delayed by 20 seconds.
That screen over there is real time.
Learning experience. Welcome back, my little Pepper Poppers. It's so good to see you again after so long.
That's so funny.
Yeah, I love how this segment has morphed, and we're going to get into that in just a second. So, a major sporting event just happened, and it happened in North America, both Mexico, the U.S., and Canada, and that was the World Cup. I'm not a soccer fan.
Nor am I.
I think they're a bunch of wussies that flop.
Oh, Jim is he's gonna be take some umbrage.
Dude, soccer is one of the most fun sports to watch, both on TV and in person.
I hate unsportsmanlike conduct, which is flopping, and that's why I don't watch the NBA. And soccer is one of those things, but the only time I can watch soccer is during the World Cup.
We watched a lot of soccer. I will say that.
And one thing that stood out during this World Cup, more so than any other World Cup or any other sporting event past, is the Christian influence.
Jamie says not soccer again. Yeah, Jamie, with you.
The Christian influence.
That's true.
This has to be the most openly Christian, like where the athletes themselves got camera time and things like that, where they were actually showing their faith.
Truth.
And that got me thinking, and it came just in time for my next top 10. My top 10 favorite Christian sports stars.
Sports stars. So we're going to do something a little different with the Pepper Poppers. We have...
and that's what I like about how it's morphed.
Yes.
It went from me choosing hot sauces that I like to not just doing a review of Christian things, but hot sauces.
Just hot sauces.
Yes.
We know nothing really of this company.
Never
These guys could be the most pagan people in the world and hate Christians.
This is called Hank sauce.
Yes.
But it says it's good on Tyrannosaurus Rex.
Which is
I gotta try this.
Yes. So I went to New Jersey to visit my brother, and we went to a farm stand boutique, and they had a bunch of hot sauces, and my kids were the ones that were like, we got to get some hot sauces for Spice Daddy and Pepper Poppers.
So if anybody wants to do a hot sauce sponsorship, I don't need to be paid.
Down.
You just need to send me some hot sauce to review. I'm
and if
willing
Hank
to do that.
Sauce finds this,
right,
we can tag it and post this. Is there flopping in golf? Great question.
Only if they're really, really good at it.
The entire world loves soccer. That's true, Ryan. Is there flopping in golf? No. because golf is a gentleman's sport.
I mean, maybe it could work for me though.
There's
like when I
there's a
slice it
flop
hard,
shot.
I could just fall
You
down and be
could-
like,
you
"Oh,
could-
my ankle!"
You could slip.
yeah.
Shouldn't eat all that
Thank you,
popcorn.
Sarah.
Yes, no.
Wasn't there a professional golfer who lost a fight to a rope at one point in the last couple of years?
That was on Happy Gilmore.
Happy
Creighton.
Gilmore lost to
That's
Bob
not what I'm
Barker.
talking about.
Yes.
So getting back to
We got some hot sauces. We're
Getting back to
debuting.
the most important segment of the show.
Oh, my goodness.
Pepper poppers. This is Hank sauce. I'm going to start out with the original hot sauce.
It's a
Never
good
had
start-
it before.
good starting point.
So again, I am starting with this season with my top 10 Christian sports stars.
Now, before you get to number 10, I'm gonna say a little thing. Do you do the hot sauce before or at the end?
I do it before.
Okay, so as you're getting ready to try it,
Gotta shake well because that's what it says on the bottle.
well, so like the one thing that that Spice Daddy is not really thrilled with this company is they do brand themselves
Yes.
as hot sauce for people that don't like hot sauce.
Yeah, that's an automatic throw off. But you know what?
We're gonna do it anyway.
I'm gonna do it anyway because I love hot sauce that much.
Jason Kelsey, Travis Kelsey's brother, who was the center for the Philadelphia Eagles, is an
They're
investor.
related to Taylor Swift.
Yes, he's now Taylor Swift's brother-in-law.
Got it. Cool.
What's the smell? How do we feel about the smell?
It's very hot saucy.
Well, hey, for people that don't like hot sauce, that seems weird.
Yeah, that's right.
All right, let's
All
try
right,
it.
here we go.
Woo, that's a good pour.
That's a good solid hot sauce.
Let's hand it to Vinny. Let's get Vinny.
Good solid hot sauce. That'd really go well on wings.
Jessica said there is club throwing.
There is
true.
club throwing. That is true.
And
my-
Lindsay with the deep cut. Where's
I
the
am
straw?
I am not a straw person with hot sauce.
No, that's a reference to your mother using a straw.
That is.
Yes, it is.
Yes. And
Lindsay,
Lindsay,
which if you want to see that, you can go back and watch the Outlaw Mamas episode.
Yes.
I don't know if that's what we titled it, but that's what it should be.
it should be.
was
Vinny,
called
what
the
did you think
mystery
of the hot
episode.
sauce?
And if you would like to see more of the ladies, comment, send a message to popecreighton@gmail.com about the spice.
Vinny,
the
before we get
Outlaw.
to this top 10 list, what did you think of the hot sauce?
Very smoky. Perfect amount of salt.
Yeah.
I would put that on anything,
Including T-Rex.
including T-Rex.
So the hot sauce for people that don't like hot sauce.
yeah, I'm going T-Rex hunting in the fall. I'm putting that on.
So
it.
this
So-
is the weakest of the heat
Yes.
signatures.
Yeah, but good flavor. Hank sauce.
Hank
original
sauce.
hot sauce.
Man, we're giving a plug for a company that could be all atheist evolutionists that don't like anything
They
dealing with
need
Christians.
hot sauce. People need Jesus too.
doesn't
That's
matter.
true.
It's good
Hank
sauce.
sauce. Reach out. We
All
got
right.
your back. Top 10.
Number
Wait. Camera to here.
number 10. If you know what he's doing, Sophie
Jamie knows.
Sophie Cunningham.
Boom. Photo.
Don't know much about her
That's such a great
until
shot, though.
recently, till Zach got her on to me.
I got her on to you.
whatever,
There's got to be a
same
better way
thing.
to say that.
Whatever, I said what I said. I'm not a WNBA fan.
No one is a WNBA fan.
I'm not an NBA fan. I'm not a basketball fan in general, except for Michael Jordan. The last time I was a fan of Michael Jordan was Space Jam.
Good movie.
Yeah.
Solid movie.
So Sophie Cunningham, you mentioned her that she should be on my top 10. And I was like,
did.
I don't know about this. So I did a little bit more research. She plays for the Indiana Fever.
She's the enforcer for
She
Caitlin
is.
Clark.
And she's grown up a devout Christian, baptized as a child. Doesn't mean much, but you shall know them by their fruits. And
yes.
and she has a lot of fruit. And pre-game rituals to her demeanor before and after in front of the media and things
And
like
most
that.
recently, she went public saying that there should be no biological men in female sports. She wore a shirt, XXXY, the brand that we've shown on the show. She's rocked their shirts, and she's gotten a ton of flack for it, but standing up for truth.
Right.
Fruit.
And so I think in today's day and age, especially for women, you don't find a lot of women Christian athletes that are in the forefront,
Very true.
and that not just men can look look towards as a role model, but the women and young
and little
young
girls,
ladies.
a wonderful role model for little girls.
I guess that's her being in my top 10 is a challenge to the young women out in the audience, however few or many there are. Be bold in your faith, no matter what you're doing, whether that be playing basketball, raising a family, working at Starbucks. Be bold in your faith.
Amen. Number 9.
This comes from one of my favorite countries, and I've been there once. I got a bunch of friends from there, though.
The Philippines.
I love the Philippines. I love the Filipino people. Great food, great people, great believers there.
Pretty good boxing. That's
right, pretty good boxing. This guy was famous for a while. He was, I believe, like the governor or president of the Philippines.
That was after the fact. He was for a good 10-year period, like the best featherweight boxer on the planet. Yes,
awesome guy. Manny Pacquiao. Outspoken, born-again Christian, raised Catholic. He became a believer around 2011. Born-again evangelical. He always put God in front of everything he was doing, and he was very outspoken about that. And that just says so much to me, especially in the fighting sports. When you can do that. And a little known fact, a lot of the fighting sports people are born-again Christians that are pretty outspoken about their faith.
There's a big in MMA in particular. Yes,
correct. And I think that shows so much, especially within that sport of how your faith gives you strength to do things that are very difficult, and fighting is one of those things.
Especially with people who are both Christians and into combat sports. A lot of the times when people talk about Christians, they misunderstand what meekness is, and they think that meekness is a form of weakness, when in fact meekness is power under control.
Amen.
Right.
And then a lot of people who do combat sports are very meek people because they can do a great deal of damage if they so choose, and they choose not to.
Right. I've been looking into doing medieval MMA. Have you seen that?
I haven't. It's awesome.
Yeah, I think I'd be really good at it.
Moving along, number 8.
Are you trying to cut me off about medieval?
No, I'm just moving the show along. No, we've done number. So this is 10, 9, 8.
Right.
That is this episode. This is a controversial one because
medieval MMA. Check them out.
Yeah, like professional athletes.
These guys are not professional by any means,
but they're professional.
They have made such an impact,
huge,
not only on the sports world, on the YouTube world, but also they are all firm believers, and they don't hide it, and that's what I love about them.
This is like if you did like youth group.
Right.
Exercises.
Yes.
And made it a YouTube channel.
And what's really cool, it has been to see them, because I've been watching them for a long time before they've gotten like super famous, and I've just enjoyed almost every video.
Did you just drop the logo?
I did. I hit the wrong
he just
button.
spoiled it. So you gotta go through it. It's already been thrown up there. Quick.
Dude Perfect.
I'm sorry.
And I say that sarcastically.
Dude,
yeah.
I hit the wrong button. I'm doing a lot of things over here.
If you have never seen Dude Perfect, check them out on YouTube. Subscribe to them. They are awesome. So a lot of what I've really trick shots, things like that, and they've really grown like
they branched
a lot.
out a bunch.
They have,
trick shots.
But you know what? You know what they've done most? They've started touring, and at the end of every one of their tours, they do a worship night.
So we went. Jessica and I took the kids. We went when they were in town 2 years ago. We went to the Infinity Arena and did the whole deal. And at the end, they come up and they say, "Hey, thank you so much for being here. We love Jesus. The show's over, but if you'd like to stay, we want to talk to you a little bit about our faith." And nobody moved, but they gave an opportunity that if you wanted to leave, you could. And then it was they didn't do a worship night then, but it was a full-blown like 10-minute wonderful presentation of the gospel with an altar call. It was awesome.
That's fantastic.
Yeah,
awesome.
and they do that on their platform, and they've got millions of followers on YouTube and such. They've got their own website and branding and sponsorships
and facility, I think, in Texas.
And the things that And I don't know if you ever seen there's that what's the name of that other thing that they do like testimonies and stuff. It's like they sit in the white chair and I am second.
I don't know. I am.
Yeah, I am second's great. They do a lot of interviews and things like that.
I thought you were referencing the Power Team.
Oh, those guys are awesome too.
Phone books apart. That's a reference.
I don't think they exist anymore.
That is a reference to church culture from the 90s that I remember.
Yes,
the Power Team.
Right. So I am second.
Power Team was early Dude Perfect.
They do a really good interview with Tyler, and the change from being just these college kids that are doing YouTube videos, early YouTube, to being famous, and how that affected like his marriage and things like that. And man, the fact that Jesus was the center of that, superb.
All right.
Anyway, thanks, my little pepper poppers. Until next time, I'll see you later.
This is you, Creighton. We get an agenda.
Oh my goodness! I was trying to figure out what in the world you were pointing at the seat. And I didn't know what you were trying to say, so I thought I was going to you. Okay.
We have an official
I
seat.
have an agenda.
Sheet, yes.
It is now my time to. Hey, if you would.
That was smooth, producer.
We really enjoy our. I have a lot going on, man. Hey, check out our social media. If you want to follow the show to get updates, like the fact that we weren't live last week, but we said we were going to be. If you want to get updates on how that works, follow us at the radio_outlaw on X. You can follow Zach Adams, Pope Creighton, Spice Daddy 316, and Vinny Himes to get all of our interesting comments on X. Give us a follow. We're trying to increase our reach on X and subsequently the reach of the show. So if you're a fan of using X, give us a follow. And then you can also, I guess do you follow us on Facebook or has it become friends?
I think it's still a follow.
I think it's still a follow. So we're on Facebook, facebook.com/TheRadioOutlaw. If you're enjoying the show, give us a follow on all of the socials. We're trying to increase our street cred, for lack of a better term, our internet cred. I don't know what the kids are saying these days. We're trying to do that. We're trying to get more viewership because we think that we have some pretty interesting things to say, and we'd like more people to see it.
We also have in the works launching on TikTok. So you don't know that we actually do have the.
Who's launching on TikTok?
We do have the Outlaw Radio TikTok account. So we're working on that, but just kind of trying to figure all that out. So again, follow us on social media. So a new segment we're doing is we're calling it Culture and Christianity. So we have a bit of a graphic. Creighton will roll that up. Culture and Christianity. And the idea of this segment is that when things are going on within the culture, sometimes I've made episodes about this in the past. Things that are really culturally relevant, things that are happening in real time. And then the goal is to kind of like deal with those things, but then bring them back to kind of a Christian biblical worldview. Early on, one of the branding slogans for Outlaw Radio was talking about relevant topics in a relevant way. And so this is kind of the evolution of that idea. And so this is its own segment. So not like purely a Bible study, but taking something happening in culture and then my job, trying to give a biblical context and perspective on this particular thing. Now, big deal right now is a blockbuster movie that was recently released, Christopher Nolan. Produced, released, it's in theaters presently, The Odyssey. Homer, his poem, The Odyssey. This is a film adaptation of it. Basically a sequel to The Iliad, which was about, there was a movie Troy that had Brad Pitt was the main actor in it. Huge budget, over $250 million put into this. They filmed it all in IMAX cameras. This is the first movie ever filmed entirely in IMAX, which is actually kind of a criticism because there's only like 30 IMAX theaters. So there's only 30 places you can actually see the full video as it was recorded. And Creighton brought this up that Christopher Nolan's known for like framing and shots, but like you can't really get that unless you see it in IMAX. The closest one to us is in Buford, which is like 40 minutes away with a ton of traffic. No, thank you.
And a bunch of middle schoolers to fight through.
Yeah, but so here's the deal about The Odyssey. there's been a lot of controversy. I mean, it has been, Vinny was the one that kind of brought it up that like, hey, this has been dominating my social media. A lot of the controversy surrounding it. Matt Damon, main actor. One of the controversies is that a transgender Ellen/Elliot Page gets cast as one of the warriors, which is just kind of silly. A lot of controversy about that, it being woke. One of the other criticisms about it, which I think really does carry some substance, is that there's like very few Greek people filmed. Like it doesn't reflect the period.
And it's a movie about Greek people. Everyone in the Odyssey is Greek.
It's Greek, but like there's very few Greek people, and in fact, like very famous characters that, like Helen of Troy, who's supposed to be like the most prettiest woman ever, they cast as a semi. I don't want to be disparaging, but
she's attractive, but she's not like
very black woman. Like again, it doesn't fit. Like one of the movies that I really enjoy. It's lower on the totem pole, but like Apocalypto, like Mel Gibson did like the Mayans and this whole thing, but like he cast like locals, like
they all look Mayan.
You're doing a period piece, and like there's something novel about like keeping it to the period. It would be like doing Gone with the Wind, but casting white people to play the slaves. Like it's odd. So there's some like legitimate criticism. My guess is probably a pretty good movie. It's done very well. It's made some money. I haven't actually seen the Odyssey, although I'm familiar with Homer's poem and its context. Vinny, you did see this movie, and this got a conversation happening with you and your wife. And so in our opening production thread on Monday, you brought this up, which is the nature of this particular segment. So why don't you kind of give it a little bit of a lead in, describe the movie, your perspective on it, and then I'll kind of take it from there and get into some of the nitty gritty. By the way, if you're watching and you want to weigh in on this particular topic, drop a comment. We're watching. We can see those in real time. So Vinny.
Yeah, I saw the movie. It was good. I enjoyed it. I'm not a huge Matt Damon fan.
Matt Damon.
Hey, the Bourne.
One of the first movies I ever saw as a kid was Matt Damon playing a part that, you never go full.
The Bourne movies were fantastic.
And I never watched them because the first movie I saw with Matt Damon was terrible. And then somebody said I looked like him when I was in high school, and that pissed me off. But it was a good movie.
You had the frosted tips?
I did. And
I could see that.
He did a great job playing Odysseus. The movie was very well made. The things that came up, the transgender person being placed in a role of a great warrior, weird, tacky, not my first choice. Helen of Troy, the most beautiful woman on the planet at the time, caused thousands of warriors, caused 1,000 ships to go to war for her beauty. Did not see it in that person that they placed in that character.
That's a tactful way to say that.
But that stuff aside, it didn't bother me. I saw the stuff on Facebook going into it. I went into the theater unenthused. I walked out of the theater entertained. I loved it. It was well done. It was a good movie. Made me think. It made my wife think. It turned into some really good conversation for us in our living room. We went straight home and watched Troy. My wife is not a Greek scholar, nor am I, and she was very curious about Greek mythology, and I posed the question to her, is Greek mythology in fact mythology, or is there undertones of biblical counterparts?
So that's a good lead-in.
Yeah.
Don't go too far to steal my thunder.
No, but I like the movie. We did drive the 40 minutes to see it.
So you saw the IMAX. Okay, that's pretty cool.
The traffic was not bad because Google Maps decided to take me down every 25-mile-an-hour back road that Georgia owns. So it took an hour and a half to get there instead of 40 minutes. But it was a good movie. We enjoyed it. If you haven't seen it, I encourage you to see it. If you've seen it, I'd love to see your comments on the YouTube live chat so we can address them here tonight.
So let me give a little bit of because the question is about Greek it's brought Greek mythology back to attention, and then questions from a biblical standpoint of like, how does this all connect? In fact, like not a real broad conversation that's happened around the movie, but I've still seen it. of people kind of almost mistaking it for being a biblical narrative, and thinking that this has roots in like some ancient biblical stories. And so I wanted to just talk about coming off of the Odyssey, the idea of Greek mythology, and try to tie this all into the Bible a little bit, and give some perspective on it. For those of you that again, like me, I didn't study Greek mythology. I have a very probably elementary level understanding. As far as the Odyssey goes, the closest understanding of it was "Oh Brother, Where Art Thou?", which was the Coen brothers, kind of their own modern adaptation of the Odyssey. Never read Homer, never read the Iliad or the Odyssey on my own, and so I just full disclosure, I'm not a Greek scholar, or I have degrees in mythology. So I'm just going to give you like a basic overview of Greek mythology, and then we'll pivot. Greek mythology is just the body of stories, beliefs, legends of ancient Greeks and earlier people groups. It kind of all bled together. About gods, heroes, the creation of the world, the origins of various natural and cultural phenomenons. It is not necessarily a religious position, although it does have very pronounced religious undertones, because it answers the various questions that religion is designed to answer. Greek mythology, the Romans took most of the basic concepts, changed names. Roman mythology, basically just a repackaging from Greek to Latin of Greek mythology. The origins of the mythology begins with the universe in chaos. It comes from primordial beings. Their children, the Titans, ruled until the Olympian gods overthrew them in a great war. The Olympians were the main pantheon on Mount Olympus. The key figures, and I'm not going to go through all of them, but just the note: Zeus, the king of the gods, sky, thunder; Poseidon, the god of the sea and earthquakes; Hades, the god of the underworld; Athena, the god of wisdom and strategic war; Apollo, the god of the sun, music, and prophecy; Artemis, the god of the hunt and the moon; Aphrodite, the goddess of love and beauty; Eris, the god of war; Hermes, the god of messengers, thieves, and travelers. And then you can kind of go on. There's a longer list, but those are...
There are gods of everything and everyone.
Which we find also reflected in Canaanite gods. Various origins when you go back to even cross-cultural, from the Chinese going all the way over to South America, the Aztecs, gods for attributing God power to various things that were unexplainable in nature, attributing their source to some divine influence. The major themes of Greek mythology, the myths explain the world, explore human nature, fate, hubris, the relationship between mortals and gods. Famous cycles include the Trojan War, the labors of Hercules, the adventures of Perseus, and on and on and on it goes. The gods were powerful, but also deeply human. Gods becoming men, man with godlike strength and attributes. In a lot of ways, our Marvel movies are newer adaptations of various similarities within mythology.
I mean, Thor is literally based off of Thor, the Norse god of thunder.
Exactly. Now, you get to Roman mythology, this is where you get a Jupiter, and other Jupiter was a change in for Zeus, etc. Greek mythology, if you do a little bit of research, originated in the ancient Greek world of the Aegean area. This would be primarily the Greek mainland, also surrounding islands like Crete, extending as far as like the western coast of Asia Minor, which is modern day Turkey. Greek mythology has very deep roots way earlier than what we would consider the rise of the Grecian Empire under Alexander. In fact, it's speculated that Greek mythological roots go all the way back into the Bronze Age, somewhere between 2000 and 1100 BC. The elements trace back to the Meonian civilization on Crete, there were various tablets that have been uncovered that mention several Olympian and gods, showing that the pantheon of gods was taking shape centuries before the classic myths were actually written down, primarily by Homer and others. There were oral traditions that were passed down for centuries by poets and storytellers throughout the Dark Age and the Ariatic period. Again, things get a bit codified by Homer, the Iliad, the Odyssey. You have other works written similar time periods where it becomes more culturally mainlined, and you get the Greek architecture, Greek Empire. These things kind of create themselves. Greek mythology, though, was not created in isolation. It actually absorbed, reshaped many ideas of neighboring cultures. This happened through trade and migration, contact, specifically Eastern myths that originated with the Mesopotamian area, the Hittites, the Phoenicians, even some Egyptian elements are included. And so the mythology, Greek mythology, grew out of indigenous traditions that date back early from oral poetry over generations, ultimately recorded and whatnot. Now, the reason that I bring this up is that, so Greek mythology, and I'm looking for my note here. Here you go. We can date back the earliest mentions, at least archaeologically discovered, to around 2000 BC. So this is when like Greek mythology starts beginning, like developing its origins. It takes centuries for it to develop in its full pantheon. Now the reason that I bring that up is because the 2000 BC mark is important, especially if we try to tie this into some type of biblical understanding. So one of the amazing things about Genesis is that it provides for us a real defined timeline. And it does this through a genealogical record that goes from Adam through his descendants, going down to Noah, which is important because then there's a global flood, but then it continues on to Abraham, and then from Abraham it'll go down to David, and from David you get to the New Testament, it'll go down to Jesus. The Old Testament genealogical records were very important. Now in Genesis, this is critical because if we're trying to use the genealogical record to create some type of a timeline, how many years really existed between Adam, or creation, and the birth of Noah? Or more specifically, how many years existed between creation and then the global flood? Because that gives us at least bookmarks, bookends, to what this particular world that was lost could have very possibly looked like. Now, as far as the timeline goes, there are, according to Genesis, 1,056 years from Adam's creation to Noah's birth. You can run down, again, Adam to Seth's 130 years. You get to Jared to Enoch's 162 years. Enoch to Methuselah was 65 years. Methuselah to Lamech is another 187 years. It goes like accordingly. And then you get to Noah, you get to 182 years. This is how we use this, because Genesis articulates it, to get the 1,056 year mark. It's very straightforward, meaning that because the flood happened in Noah's 600th year, again, that's Genesis 7:6, 7:11, meaning that the flood occurred 1,656 years following the creation on the sixth day of Adam. Now, that is significant, because if you then take that and you start to try to do research on how old is the earth, and then within that context, when did the flood happen? Approximately, the flood occurred 1,656 years from creation, meaning the flood happened in the year 2348 BC. Okay, and we're working backwards, meaning that Greek mythology has its roots taking place roughly 300 and maybe even earlier years after the flood. So again, God wipes out this entire earth, preserving 8 people: Noah, his wife, his 3 sons, Shem, Ham, and Japheth, and their wives. And then he begins to repopulate the entire earth from this one particular family. Noah not having any more children, but his 3 sons having children who have children, and they begin to multiply and fill the earth. Taking 300 years, and again, there's some conversation, some debate, like what was the population of the earth at the flood? You can, in a conservative estimate, place the global population around 6 billion people, in theory, at the time of the flood. Like we're talking about the very possibilities of an advanced culture. Again, Adam had 100% use of his full intellect, full genetics. There's a lot of things like like we're talking about not a Neanderthalic like people, but in a very advanced culture. Noah was able to build a boat. They had the ability soon thereafter to build cities again, and to build a tower going up into heaven that they waterproofed. Like there's a lot of like, really, this is a whole nother topic, but like the technology, what could have existed, like that world is a mystery because the Bible doesn't tell us a lot of things about it, but we can connect some dots to say it was very likely advanced and very wicked. Well, that world gets wiped out, but the stories, the legends of what that world looked like get carried on. And within a different type of a global environment, people not being able to live as long as they did prior to the flood, the population 300 years after the flood is good, but not like super significant, meaning that when you're talking about Mesopotamia, and again, Greece, Turkey, this particular area of the world, again, Mount Ararat is in Turkey. That's where the ark settled. They're all in this general geographic region. It is safe to say that there were legends, stories, tales of the days of old. Now, how does that tie into Greek mythology? I think it has a lot to do with Greek mythology. Again, Greek mythology has its roots on gods coming to earth, intermingling, breeding with human being, creating God, human-like beings with supernatural renown, talent, authority. Greek mythology does have a root of the supernatural blending with the natural, creating kind of a hybrid thing. Now, well, where does that have any connection to do with the Bible? Well, in Genesis chapter 6, one of the precursors, the motivations of God destroying the earth, is that we're told that the sons of God came into the daughters of men and created what was called the Nephilim. I believe that what is being described is that fallen angels, and we know the angelic beings have the ability to take on human form. We see that all throughout the scriptures. Fallen angels, under the power, influence, dominion of Lucifer, come in and begin to procreate with the daughters of men. And they completely pollute the human gene pool. I think that's a satanic strategy because God had told Satan back in Genesis 3 that his ultimate demise would come through the seed of the woman, a virgin birth, that God would become man, the true God. So Satan wants to dilute the human gene pool. And so we have this dynamic where there is this pre-flood world that's probably very advanced, scientifically advanced. We don't know what it looks like. Pangea, probably one continent, one global community. Very interesting. Jesus would say that his second coming, the earth would be like it was in the days of Noah. And I think we can extrapolate maybe some parallels. One government, evil, rebellion against God, but we have this very bizarre supernatural influence of angels marrying, having sex with, procreating with humanity, creating a new species of half angelic being, half human being that we call the Nephilim, of which precipitated God from wiping out the planet to start over with Noah and his family. In fact, forbidding that from happening again. We see passages in Jude and other places. There's still being pockets of remnants of this still occurring after the flood. Hence why when the children of Israel come back following their time in Egypt to the land of Canaan, similar practices probably were still being employed. Hence Goliath was more than likely a Nephilim, the giants. Beyond just Goliath, the children of Israel send 10 spies. They come back. They say the land is, there's this whole thing happening. This has occurred culturally in other places. Minimal. I think demons, a whole nother classifications, are probably the disembodied spirits from the flood. Again, the human part of the body dies, but the angelic part doesn't, and you have these disembodied spirits of this other hybrid group of people. I think that's the origin of demons, something different than fallen angels. I think that's why you see less demonic influence today than you did in the days of Jesus, because they end up being cast into the abyss. So again, a whole nother topic for another day. My point is that this is what the pre-flood world looked like. It's not a shocker at all that non-Semitic or descendants of Abraham peoples and culture groups, people groups that weren't following the true God of the universe, Jehovah, would, through the tales and the stories of old, and even some of their own influences in their day, develop very real tales of what that pre-flood world looked like. My point is, I think Greek mythology isn't really mythology at all, but probably ancient people groups, their tales, their legends, the stories of what the actual pre-flood world looked like, meaning that they have a very real basis in reality. It's one of the reasons that when the children of Israel came back into the land of promise, they were to root out pagan gods, because they were still steeped in some of the same perverse practices of demonology and human sexuality, and that slippery slope of what can be created. Again, Goliath was not a natural byproduct of human biology, but something deeply cursed, which is why then David and the children of Israel hunt them down and kill them all, to try to stop this from happening and continuing. So when you go to see the movie, when you see the Odyssey, or you go back and you read through Troy, or you read watch Troy, or you see the Iliad, there are I think actual historical basis for them that the Bible points to, it not being in the way that they've been culturally portrayed, but being a description of a period of history that the Bible discusses and records between Genesis really 3 and 6, and then you see pop up again in other places throughout the Old Testament, and then more likely later on prophetically in the book of Revelation. Any questions and thoughts? Any feedback?
I think we have some basis for believing what the Bible says over Homer within this aspect of things. It kind of goes back to, the earliest manuscript of that we have to the original Homer's Iliad and Odyssey is only 500 to 600 years,
which is an amazing thing. Like, no
Right.
one watched the Odyssey and said, I don't really
Right.
think Homer wrote that.
right?
But they'll do that with the Bible, right?
But the earliest manuscript of the New Testament is written less than that we have today is less than 100 years since the original.
So we got 500 to 600 years. We have copies of the Iliad, the Odyssey. How
Right.
many of those do we have?
Ooh, this is where it really gets interesting. So, Homer's Iliad, let's start with Homer's Odyssey, because
Okay,
that's what
yeah.
we're on right now. We have 574 manuscripts.
Dating 500 to 600 years after the fact.
Right.
That's twice the age of the United States of America.
Homer's Iliad, we have 1900.
Amazing.
1900 is a good number.
It is. That's a good solid
But
number.
how many manuscripts of the New Testament do we have dating back 30 years to 100.
Do you want the Greek or all the languages?
Let's do all the languages for the sake of time.
All the languages, 23,986.
That's a lot more than 1900.
Yes,
The Bible
it is.
wins.
Yeah. So what's funny is people will,
And that's just the New Testament. That's not even counting things that we have from like the Old Testament, like the Dead Sea Scrolls and things like that.
and the book of Isaiah.
Right.
Right.
And people will start negating the veracity of the Bible just because they want to. But we have, according to archaeology and I don't know what to call it other than like historical documents, manuscripts and things like that, the number and the closeness to the original adds to the veracity of that document. And the New Testament and the Bible in general has a vast amount more than all the other things, almost pretty much combined.
Amazing. Well, for the sake of time, I mean, that wraps up culture and Christianity. I hope you enjoyed this segment. I hope that added some context for the Odyssey and where it's at in culture, and tying that a little bit back to your Bible. A new segment we're also kind of rolling out is based off of a parable that Jesus taught of a mustard tree that represented the kingdom, and that there were birds that nested in its branches. And my interpretation of that particular parable is that Jesus was acknowledging that within his kingdom there would be negative influences that would arise, that there would be birds that would make nests in the branches. It would still be the kingdom, but that there would be ungodly, corrosive influences. And so we're rolling out a new segment that we're titling Birds in the Branches. Creighton, if you could put up the logo. The subtext is this is a series about the controversies in Christianity, and this will primarily be a segment that we will be passing to Pope C. So there's some things that have been happening that have been trending. We are limited on time, so dive right into this particular topic.
So this is one of those things that I don't have any personal interaction with. And you might not either, but I have seen it a lot on my X feed, and a lot of the people that I follow and respect have talked a lot about it. So if you haven't seen it, I wanted to give you a heads up that this is a thing that is probably going to become more of a thing over the next year or so. It's a thing called the Passion Translation, which I'm using. It's called TPT, the Passion Translation. Otherwise, I would not use the word translation for it. It is a quote-unquote translation of the Bible. It was created by a guy named Brian Simmons. He has been releasing it in parts since 2009. The New Testament was finished in 2011. He is projecting that the Old Testament will be finished in 2029. A website I found that did a review of it called olivetree.com described it as this. And I quote, "A groundbreaking attempt to reintroduce the passion and fire of the Bible to English readers. The Passion Translation is a new, heart-level translation that expresses God's fiery heart of love to this generation using Hebrew, Greek, and Aramaic manuscripts, merging the emotion and life-changing truth of God's Word." One of the biggest things to take away from that blurb is that it was originally meant by Brian Simmons, how he described it, as a translation of the Aramaic into English. Because he said that the Aramaic had, we'll get to it, secrets of God's love that he would then bring into the English version. What's interesting, if you don't know this, the New Testament, definitely not the Old Testament, but the New Testament for certain as well, was not written in Aramaic. It was written in Greek.
Koine Greek, to be specific.
And then has been translated into Aramaic, which is what he says that he is translating off of. But he makes the claim that it was actually written in Aramaic, translated into Greek, and then translated back into Aramaic, which he is now. It's a whole deal. So Brian Simmons makes this thing called the Passion Translation. It has been endorsed by some very big names in the greater Christian sphere.
One person in particular.
Bill Johnson of Bethel Church has not only endorsed it, but he actually wrote the foreword for a copy of the Passion Translation that is on the website at Bethel Church. That is the Bethel edition. He wrote the foreword for it. He's a big fan. As well as Lou Engle at The Call and Bobby Houston at Hillsong Church. Currently, what has been released is the New Testament, Psalms, Proverbs, and Song of Solomon. Which, Song of Solomon is such an interesting last one to me.
Don't deviate.
Yeah. So, the issues. We're going to start with Brian Simmons and the things that he has claimed about this translation. Number one, he claims that Jesus physically appeared to him, breathed on him, expanded his mind, and told him that he would give him secrets of the Hebrew language, secrets of the Bible, that would be for the last days awakening.
That sounds very familiar.
Doesn't it? He claimed that he saw an angel who Jesus told him the angel's name was Passion, which is where this translation gets its name. He claimed to have been taken spiritually to a heavenly library where Jesus showed him many books, including one that was titled John 22, and that was the final chapter of John, which Jesus would give to Brian to then reveal to the world prior to the events of Revelation. He has walked back some of these things because, of course, he has. But these are all things that he has claimed publicly, and there are video and audio recordings of him claiming these things. He also claimed in giving his credentials for how he can translate the Passion Translation, he claimed to have worked on the translation for the New Testament for a thing called the Payakuna translation, which is for a group of people in Panama. They speak a language called Payakuna. He claimed to have been both trained by the company that made the translation and instrumental in that translation's creation. However, Ethnos 360, the organization that created it, claims that not only was he not instrumental in its creation, he had no oversight in its creation and actually left Panama somewhere around 6 years prior to the translation being finished. The actual translation has a bunch of issues. For one, it is a solo translation. If you know anything about things like the NIV, the ESV, the New King James, these are translated by committees with scholarly backing, and they make a point to fill these committees with people who disagree on things, on secondary issues, so that there is no one person's personal theology being overrepresented in the translation.
Gotcha.
This does not have that. This is him doing it by himself.
With no oversight or accountability.
No oversight, no accountability, and nobody else inputting. So it is just him and his theology
and Google
creating his
Translate.
Bible. Worse. We're going to get there. So this is what is known as a sectarian translation. That is the term for this that scholars have given this translation and translations like it. Because Brian Simmons is a part of what is called the New Apostolic Reformation, which is a hyper-charismatic movement that has more than a few faults. Again, Bill Johnson and Bethel Church are big parts of the New Apostolic Reformation. And Brian adds an insane amount to the text of the Bible in his translation to support the theology of the New Apostolic Reformation. Just real quick, these are just flyby numbers. There is more of this, and I'm going to get to that in a second. But the word realm in the ESV is used 0 times. Realm as in like an area or a region. In the Passion translations, it's used 143 times. 0 times in the ESV. Anointed is used 17 times in the ESV, 199 times in the Passion translation. Miracle is used 7 times in the ESV, 120 times in the Passion translation. Religious is used 2 times in the ESV and 140 times in the Passion translation. Psalm 18 in the NIV is approximately 859 words. In the Passion translation, that 859 words has expanded to 1,286 words. So it is 50% larger in the Passion translation than it is in the NIV. He has expanded the Bible. He has increased all kinds of things, and he has changed many of the actual meanings of passages. I don't have the time to get into all of that in this segment. Like I said, we're running out of time. Please, if you want more information on what all he changed, please check out Mike Winger and the Minor Prophets. They have done literally hours and hours of video talking about the Passion Translation and all of the things that he has changed. What is important? You started the episode out by saying that you should be very careful with who you allow to have authority over you, who you allow to teach to you. I think that is true for who your pastor is, and I think it's true for what Bible you read, because changing the Bible, retranslating the Bible is a mainstay for cults. Joseph Smith did it with his Joseph Smith translation. The Jehovah's Witnesses did it with their New World Translation. They retranslate the Bible to support their theology, and it always has an ulterior motive. I don't quite know what Brian Simmons' motive is, other than the fact that he has probably gotten wealthy off of it. No one knows how much he actually has made off of the translation, but he's definitely gotten notoriety out of it. They almost always have an ulterior motive. They almost always use it to prop up their bad theology, which Brian Simmons definitely did. Now, I am not super hardline about what Bible version you should use. I'm personally very partial to the New King James Version. It's what I was raised on. It's one of the books that my mom used to teach me how to read. I've been reading the New King James Version literally since I could read. So I'm very partial to that. But there are many out there that are great. I would just like to encourage you that A, if you are using the Passion Translation or know somebody who is, you should voice concerns. You should look into who wrote the translation, why.
And it's not the Bible. It's not the Bible.
It's not the Bible. If you go to a church that endorses the Passion Translation or that uses it from the pulpit, you should voice concerns. Or, and what I would be doing, is looking for an exit from that church, because it is not the Bible. It is not the Bible. And there are, some of the things are harmless. When I said that you said using Google Translate, there are passages that have been straight lifted out of a crazy person's online translation from a Sumerian text that he will not release, quote unquote, that are just straight lifted.
Trust that.
I would just say, if you are, whatever Bible you use, look into who made it, look into why they made it, and look into how they made it, because there are lots of resources on how translations work, especially the Passion Translation, because it is, like Zach was saying, it's important who teaches you and what they are teaching you, and the only way to know that is what Bible they're using and how they're using it.
So there are scholarly accepted methods for translation. You take the ancient text in its original, and you take each word, and you find the best English or Mandarin or whatever the language is correlation to it. I saw that. So translation is, I look at the word and I try to find the best English word that articulates what that word means. That is why ultimately you get to the King James Version, New King James Version. Sometimes you have super run-on sentences, and verbs and nouns get reversed, and adjectives, the order gets weird. Can make it a little bit more difficult to read, but that's true translation. ESV does that to an extent, although I have some issues with the ESV, but they just picked the wrong original manuscripts to translate off of.
Issues, but you wouldn't necessarily say don't read the ESV.
Yeah, that's fine.
Yeah.
What this is, I would say this is why I don't like the NIV, because the NIV doesn't do a true translation. Instead of word to word, they do sentence to sentence. So they take a sentence in the original language, and then they interpret, not translate, but interpret what they believe is trying to be articulated.
Yeah, I've heard it described as word for word or thought for thought.
Thought for thought. Here's a sentence. What is trying to be said by this sentence? And then let's figure out the best English sentence. My problem with that is that adds too much, for me, human interpretation. I don't want interpretation. I want translation. NIV fits that particular category. There's others that fall in that same grouping. Then you have, and many years ago there was this big controversy. This gets to Karen's question. What about the Message? Eugene Peterson, great man of God, great Bible teacher, great pastor, good guy. He came out with the Message. Now it got advertised as a translation. That's the biggest problem I have with it, because it's not. So Eugene Peterson would take like a chapter, and then he would basically put it into his own language, like his own thought. Like, this is what this is saying, and I'm going to give it a modern interpretation. I don't have a problem with anyone reading the Message as a supplement to their Bible. So if you read a chapter in the Bible and you're wanting what Eugene Peterson thinks is trying to be articulated, read the Message. It's a commentary. It's Eugene Peterson's commentary on the Bible. It's not a translation of the Bible. I would not call the Message a Bible. It's Eugene's his interpretation of what these things are being communicated. And sometimes you can read a chapter and it's so insightful and it's spot on, and there are other times you're like, I think you completely missed the entire point of the chapter. What is crazy about the Passion Translation is that even within its own branding, there's the twisting of language, because it fits no official definition of translation. It doesn't follow any hallmark of translation. It should not be called a translation at all. It's a lie. It's not a translation. What it is, different than Eugene Peterson in the Message, is it's this one guy not just telling you what he thinks the Bible's saying, but then adding into newfound revelation, not including the Bible, as to what's really trying to be said.
And claiming that Jesus told him to do it.
It's a whole different level of concern, danger, flares, heresy. The problem with the Passion Translation is that no one would know anything about it. No one would care if it hadn't been for Bill Johnson and Bethel getting fully behind it. And the reason they get fully behind it is that it was a translation of the Bible that enabled them to justify their unbiblical New Apostolic theology. That is the exact same thing Joseph Smith did with Mormonism. You can make the comment that that's the reason that there is the Quran, because Muhammad couldn't make his theological points using just the Bible. Keeps the Bible around, but has greater new revelation. This makes the Passion Translation terrible. Stay away from it. I'll use stronger language than Creighton. It's poison. The reason that we're sounding the alarm that it's birds in the branches is because one of the greatest influencers of modern Christian evangelical culture, which is Bethel, has completely embraced it. And that is cause for concern, and cause for concern regarding Bethel and Hillsong and anyone even loosely associated with the New Apostolic Reformation movement. Creighton, finish it out.
Yeah, I've got a couple of things. First, a couple, I think 2 months ago maybe, because this is kind of blown up on X, Bethel actually removed the Passion Translation from their online store. It is back. They removed it. It's back now. So if you're seeing things where they say, oh no, Bethel got rid of it. No, they didn't. They dropped it and then they put it back. I checked it this morning when I was getting ready for tonight. It is currently on their website. And then we have a comment from Frank that I think sums up my worst fears really well. I can't say that this is actually going to happen, but I think that he's spot on with the trajectory, which is, it's the same story. Third verse. Next we'll hear his version supersedes all previous, and he is an anointed prophet.
All right.
I mean, that's the game plan. Is you and you're like, yeah. I have this special revelation from Jesus. I'm a prophet. I'm going to marry other people's wives, because that's fourth verse.
Right.
Also, the Passion Translation is on YouVersion, and if you use YouVersion, you should send them something in their customer service that says, hey, you shouldn't have this on here, because they really shouldn't. Bible Gateway dropped it 4 years ago, beginning of 2022. It's 2026. So more than 4 years ago, Bible Gateway dropped it. YouVersion still has it.
That's why you should download Blue Letter Bible.
I've switched to Blue Letter Bible, which has a beautiful web app. If you have not used it, Blue Letter Bible Bible app is fantastic.
So, and I guess that concludes birds in the branches. Be careful. Within the church, there are evil influences. Well, we had another segment we were going to introduce tonight, but we were trying to make sure that we never get beyond the 1 hour and 30-minute mark, which we are very quickly approaching. So, guys, why don't you close us out with a few different plugs, promotions, and then I'll give us an exit.
All right, y'all. Check out our podcast. This is the filming of it. We will release it tomorrow morning on Apple and Spotify. Please let us know if you use a podcasting app that you do not see us on, and I will get us on that podcasting app. But yeah, check out our podcast. We give it to your friends if you know somebody that would like this kind of show but isn't into YouTube. Check out our podcast.
Karen, thank you so much for watching. Your comments are always awesome. How can you guys help spread the word? Like, comment, subscribe to the Outlaw Radio Show on Facebook, YouTube, X, wherever you're following along. Zach mentioned a clothing line earlier, XXY.
Yeah, I have to look it up.
It was during the Pepper Poppers portion of this segment. If you can find that episode where Zach was sporting their shirt and tag me in it, I will personally mail you an Outlaw Radio Show t-shirt of your size. So, like, comment, subscribe, and if you don't have a church, check us out, Calvary 316. Every single sermon is live. Love to see you there on Sundays.
One of the cool things that happened during our summer break.
That's true.
Before I get to that, I just want to shout out my nieces, Reese, Jane, and Lena. They're watching right now. But one of the coolest things that happened to us during the summertime is we had a good friend visit us.
We did. A big fan of our show.
Big fan of our show, and we are a big fan of his. At least two of us are.
Bruh.
That's true.
I have the full card game.
Yeah, but you haven't read any of the books, and that's why I beat you at it.
Yeah, well, I read the
and
wrong
you
book.
didn't even respond to an X comment that was made.
I totally did.
Did you? I didn't see that. Anyway, Lee Steven, if you've never read any of his books, the Destiny's Edge series, check them out. You can find them on Amazon and I think a lot of the other platforms too. But man, they're so good.
And there's a card game in development.
Card game in development.
Yes.
We've played. Creighton and I have played it, and I'm not into card games, but this one was awesome.
Yeah, check out the Destiny's Edge series on Amazon. Fantastic. We had one final comment I just want to get to. Mama Hollick dropped in Deuteronomy 4:2. I'll read it. You shall not add to the word which I command you, nor take from it, that you should keep the commandments of the Lord your God, which I command you. And absolutely, thank you so much for that.
That would be Spice Mama.
Spice Mama.
Yeah, the Mommy Hulk. Mama Hulk.
Well, hey, why don't you hit some music, and I'm going to roll us out of here. Thank you so much again for watching the Outlaw Radio Show. Thank you for joining us in the comments section. I think this was wonderful. This was a much easier way for us to stay connected in real time. If you haven't already done so, please hit subscribe to our YouTube channel. Leave us a review on our podcast. These things go a long way. Also, turn on your notifications so that when we go live, if you forgot, you'll get notified that we are hitting the interwebs. Also, check out the podcast, Apple and Spotify. And always join us live Wednesday nights at 8 p.m. here for the Outlaw Radio Show. God bless.